to the session, Google Cloud PubSub. I think it is a good topic that Nivas and Saurabh has chosen. So those who are already worked on Kafka or related any other PubSub systems, they would be able to relate, right? Yeah, let us ignite the session. Thanks all for joining. Over to you, Saurabh and Agnibhas.
Yep. Hello everyone. Good evening. Um, Today we'll be looking at a service which comes under the umbrella of Google Cloud. But before starting the session, let's once again go through the knowledge etiquettes. Please follow the etiquettes for every knowledge session you attend so that it encourages the presenters. Firstly, please be punctual and join the session 5 minutes prior to the starting time. Feedback, please make sure to submit a constructive feedback for all the sessions as it is very helpful for the presenter. Silent mode, keep your mobile devices in silent mode and feel free to move out of the session in case you need to attend an urgent call. Avoid disturbance, please avoid unwanted disturbances in between the session. If you have any questions, please post them on the chat box. So let's first quickly go through today's agenda for this session. Firstly, I'll give a brief introduction to Google Cloud PubSub for those who are new to the service. Then we'll move on to the main agenda of this session, that is how Spring Cloud GCP helps us integrate this service into a Spring application. Next, we'll look at the features offered by Spring Cloud GCP. After that, we'll look at how can we start building a Spring application using Spring Cloud GCP. And finally, a live demo will be provided by Saurav to demonstrate a working application showing the same. Now let's get started. First, let me explain what Cloud PubSub is in simple words. The term Cloud PubSub is very self-explanatory itself. It is simply a messaging service based on the publisher subscriber model, and it operates on cloud environment provided by Google. Now the purpose of Cloud PubSub is to keep our services reliably communicating with each other. Now you might already know about a more familiar tool called Apache Kafka, which provides the same functionality. Well, Cloud PubSub is basically the same thing, only this is provided by Google and it is fully managed by Google Cloud. In this slide, you can see the definition of Cloud PubSub in the form of some pointers. Let's go through each of them. Firstly, it is an asynchronous messaging service, which means it helps your application send, receive, and filter events or data streams asynchronously. It gives you durable message storage, scalable in-order message delivery, consistently high availability, and performance at any scale. And PubSub runs in any Google Cloud region all over the world. You also don't have to provision PubSub. It scales global data delivery automatically from 0 to millions of messages per second. With PubSub, data producers don't need to change anything when the consumers of their data change. Just publish once and let it manage the distribution itself. So this was a brief description of what Cloud PubSub is. Now let's get to know a little bit about Spring Cloud GCP. Okay. So the purpose of developing Spring Cloud GCP is to use Spring framework on GCP as easily and seamlessly as possible. Spring Cloud GCP makes makes the Spring framework a first-class citizen of Google Cloud Platform. It provides various modules or rather libraries which help in using the Google Cloud platform for applications that are built on Spring Framework. This is a collaborative effort from Google and Pivotal to bring the goodness of Spring into the GCP services, and in doing so also cut down on the boilerplate code. For more information, you can visit the official documentation page that is present in the spring.io link mentioned here. Here you will find all the GCP services that are currently supported by Google Cloud with Spring Cloud GCP. Next, we will look into the features. Next, we'll look into the features provided by Spring Cloud GCP for Cloud PubSub. So Spring Cloud GCP contains modules for sending messages to PubSub topics and receiving messages from PubSub subscriptions using the Spring framework. You can use these modules independently or combine them for different use cases. Firstly, Spring Cloud GCP contains PubSub Starter, which lets you send and receive messages using helper classes. It contains Spring integration channel adapters for PubSub, which lets you connect Spring integration message channels. It contains Spring Cloud Stream Binder for PubSub, which lets you use PubSub as messaging middleware in Spring Cloud Stream applications. Now, getting started with Cloud PubSub using Spring Cloud GCP. Next slide. So there are multiple, mainly three ways to get started with GCP implementation using Spring Cloud. So these are the ways we can use the GCP services in our Spring application. Basically, the first way is we can build the application in the GCP environment itself using the Google Cloud Shell and Cloud Shell Editor. Another way is we can deploy or develop local Spring Boot application in the Google App Engine. And the third way is to do the same thing in Google Kubernetes Engine. Um, Moving on to the next slide. Bill of materials. Okay, so uh, we have bill of materials, or simply BOM, to get started with Spring Cloud GCP. We should add this dependency first to our Spring Boot app. The BOM is necessary because Google publishes over 200 open source Java libraries that makes it easier to use the services, the Google services. Uh, I mean the cloud services present in Google Cloud, present under Google Cloud platform. These Google Cloud libraries depend on several foundational libraries that can be used using this for general purposes. So now we will have a live demo in GCP environment where Saurav will use Cloud PubSub to make a simple message sender and receiver application using Spring Boot. This will show you how Spring Cloud GCP helps us use the GCP services in a Spring Boot application. So, Saurav, you can take over.
Thank you, guys. To to proceed with the building application, we required and Google Cloud Console access or the shell access. So let's get started. I have created one free account with the help of Nodless ID on Google Shell. So this is our Google Cloud Console, as you all of you know. So to get started with this building application, firstly we have to create a topic and its relevant subscription module for the same. So in this console, we have to search PubSub to create a topic, or you can simply able to create it with the help of Google Shell uh, or Google Cloud Shell using a command gcloud pubsub topic create and the topic name. So firstly, we just go through the GUI, that is graphical user interface on console or Google Cloud. So we just search the PubSub and we select the PubSub module over here. So to create a topic, either you can use a Google Shell, which is uh, present in this right hand corner where the mouse is pointed, and using command gcloud PubSub create topic and the topic name. So over here we create a topic uh, with the topic ID. It must have to be unique, but we can define it as a demo or knowledge demo. You can able to configure it for the big data or for analysis purpose. Also, you can able to set the retention period for the messages over here, and by default Google apply its own encryption module for envelope packaging system, or as like as envelope packaging system, or you can able to define it by your own. So we hit to the create topic. So it will take some time as it is free account, so it will take more than 20 to 30 seconds. So our topic has been created over here. In this topic, the default subscription model are already present, but we can able to define our own subscription model from here. Like we create a subscription with the simple create subscription topic. We can be able to define the subscription ID over here that we are later using the practical or in the code, like as knowledge demo. So that is subscription. You can able to define its delivery type, whether it is for pull or push mechanism, and by default it provides a 7 days retention period, but you can able to define it how much days you want to define its retention period. As it is free, it will provide us only 7 days retention policy, but if we have a paid version or if we have paid module, then we can be able to define it how many days it will going to be take. Also, you can provide expiration duration over here and acknowledgement deadline, so that acknowledgement within some time frame you can able to define it over here. And you can also configure various options like subscription filter, delivery, exactly one delivery for a particular one, uh, you can say it as a module. And there are some retry policies also that you can able to define. We just hit to create. As a subscription is module is created and added successfully, we can able to define it or able to see it over here. If you go in the subscription part, you can able to see all those things. As we have already created the topic and subscription, now we will move towards the creating the Java applications to deal with this subscription and publishing model. So we just open Cloud Shell. So you can open it from here. I have already opened the Cloud Shell over here. So we just reload it. So we create two projects. First one is to send the message over the network, and another one is to uh, read the message that publish on our network with respect to the topic. So first we can create an application which will send or which will publish the message over the network. So with the help of this command, that is a starter project with the Spring Boot version with dependencies and base directory. As it is empty directory, as you can see over here, it will just create one directory and add some content from the provided URL. So we just hit that. Oh, just 1 minute. So as you see, it is failed, as we haven't set the project for this console or command. So we can configure our project with this gcloud by the command gcloud config set project, that is extend cache uh, 351411, that is our project id. As you can see it in our project or in the topic name, that is projects, that my project id, and the topics that knowledge demo, it is a topic id. So over here we just set the project. So it will ask for the authentication and authorization. We just authorized it. So as you can see, the project id has been set. So we just hit the URL again. Okay, just 1 minute. So our project is created for sending the application or publishing the message. Similarly, we'll create another application to receive the message and print it on the console. So same command to create the application. We create a Spring integration receiver. So as you can see over here, I just refresh it. Just 1 minute. So we create and receiver application. You can see it over here, the receiver one and sender one. We browse our code using the editor or a cloud shell editor. So using this button, you can able to see this code. So I am importing all the imports earlier for my convenience, as it is not a ID to support the auto import. So it is a sample code for sender application. So I have imported all the required classes and libraries over here. So as we are going to create a simple web service to access or make a call in this application or sender application, to send a message or to publish a message over the network or in the GCP environment. So we require to add a controller over here, a post controller, or so we just define a REST controller over here. And to see or to print the received message, we required a logger. So we we import one another logger over here, and we required a gateway, a messaging gateway. So we create both the fields over here, that is messaging gateway and logger to log this required message. Now we require to build and outbound gateway over here to uh, implement a method sent to PubSub network. So we create a method like this over here. That is, it will access a default put channel and bound it with the one method that is sent to PubSub, which will again used by a gateway to publish a message over the network. Now we have to activate a template that we have already defined, the topic on which we are going to publish a message. As you can see, I have defined my template over here named Nodus demo. That is the topic name or topic ID on which or on behalf of which we are going to publish a message over the network. So over here we have defined the knowledge demo as a template for which message handler will publish the message over the network. So now this handler will uh, bind our messaging gateway to the Spring Boot publisher. So now we create one method like uh, post mapping, which will log a incoming request payload and publish a message over the network with the help of gateway, the messaging gateway. So over here I have defined the post mapping by which it will log the payload, the upcoming message, and again it will publish that message over the network with the help of this method like send to PubSub and the payload. So that in this way we have created our sender application. So to run this application, first we will browse uh, in this directory. So over here there are two directories, that is sender and for receiver. So we just go in the sender one. So as you can see, it is got compiled and it is started running. Yeah, the application is started. So we open the another shell in which we are dealing with the receiver application. So I just set the project where we are starting to work. So let's get started with the receiver application. So this is the receiver application. I will import all the required files. For way as we are going to receive this message, so we have to print the upcoming message or log it on the console. So we implement one logger in this application. So here we have created one simple logger. Now we define a channel integration over here. So first we have to define one method that is that will create a messaging channel on which it will going to be listen all the events. So we have created a method or which will return a bean for the direct channels, and we define an adapter through which we are going to listen the event for the subscription. So in this method, the PubSub inbound channel adapter, which will listen for the adapter and create an adapter for the subscription for the given topic. Like in this subscription model, we have created this knowledge demo sub. It is our subscription ID for which we are going to listen on the adapter. So over here, we define this knowledge demo subscription adapter, which will set for listening the output channel in the incoming channel. So this adapter will listen all the event for this subscription template. Now we just have to define a service activator which will actively listen all the events associated with the subscription model. In this method, it will receive all the events on this channel and listen for the knowledge template, that is knowledge demo subscription template. So it will log all the messages received on that adapter. So we have defined this receiver application. Now we will run this application in the console. So to run this application, we have to define a service port on which the application will be run. So it will start scanning and implement building the project. So our receiver application has been started in this second window, and the sender is running in the first. Now we just call our project or publish or call event or call HTTP post call or service call for our sender application with the simple text like hello world. So this is our call. We just calling our running 8080 port the service by this sender application. So we have make a call, a curl call in this terminal. So it will start calling to the sender application. It means it will call this method post messaging or mapping in the sender cache. So we can, as we can able to see over here, like messages received for the sender at point not 83 time log that with the payload hello world, and it will publish the message over the network and it will listen by our receiver for this subscription in the adapter. So it will appear over here like message has been received at the receiver application with the payload hello world at the time of uh, uh, 0.596. So there is some minor delay with it. So as we can see, we are able to publish it a message by invoking the web service that we have created. Also you can able to publish this message using console as well as using the cloud shell also. So you can able to publish the message for the subscription, given subscription. Like if we go over here and in this messages, if we publish a message, it will ask how much number of you message you have to publish it. Like suppose like I have published the Nordus demo sample message. You can able to publish it millions of record at a single instance or in a single event. But as it is a free account, so it will allow only us 100 messages. You can able to define the ordering keys also over here. So we just hit to publish message. So we have published one message from console, but we haven't used the sender application. So our message will not appear on this sender console because we haven't sent it using that web service, but it will appear on the uh, receiver application because we have published it on the network. So our message will be arrived over here as a Nodus demo sample message. So that's it, guys. It is just a basic representation how we can use Google Cloud Services in a Spring application. Similarly, there are many other services, Google which services by which Google support Spring Cloud integration. You can find it in spring.io documentation link mentioned earlier by Agnibas. So this is the sample implementation in Spring for PubSub. If you guys have any question, feel free to ask us. Hello.
Thanks, Saurav. Anyone like
You
the
can press the question in the message also.
Yes, Saurav, Bhagnivat, I have one question. Can we perform or implement authentication authorization in GCP PubSub? Can we?
Yes, we can able to perform it in, authentication or authorization by simply providing an APIs, or you can able to create a service account by which you can define the access for the service account and using IAM role that is defined in GCP or in the Google Cloud. So you can able to configure it access in your application for service. And for authorization, it will basically uses OAuth 2 protocol for authentication and authorization. So Google has provided its own authentication and authorization rule. We have to define it in the security model, or user or the admin will maintain that all the things in the security domain of Google Cloud securities.
Okay, got it, sir. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification.
yes, Saurav, there are multiple questions in chat. Maybe you can take them one by one.
Okay.
First question is from Anshuman. How does load balancing works in PubSub?
Okay, for load balancing, for instance, we have defined the zones for our service. Suppose one zone is down for some reason, so automatically all the subscription as well as the publishing load has been transferred to other zone or in the other region. Suppose one service is down in the one region, or it will shift that all the content towards the next zone, that is defined replicated zone. So in this way the load balancing has been done, and all the internal load balancing for Google Cloud PubSub is fully managed and maintained by Google. So we don't require to deal with it, or we are able to simply configure it with the help of admin or load balancing. And the next one is difference between PubSub and Apache Kafka. So I think Agnibas will
Yeah,
tell.
yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Uh, uh, there are a few key differences. Almost it is almost basically the same thing. Both are messaging platforms, but they do have some key differences. So Apache Kafka does message ordering based like within partitions, whereas PubSub uh, does it within the topics, uh, based on topics. Um, Apache Kafka, I believe, supports transactions, whereas PubSub doesn't. Um, so also there is a storage limit defined by PubSub of message storage limit defined by PubSub of 7 days, whereas the Apache Kafka it limits only by the available machine storage. Um, and PubSub, as you know, it is a Google Cloud managed service. So it achieves logging and monitoring automatically using cloud logging and cloud monitoring, which is again, those two are uh, are two cloud services provided by Google. And whereas in Apache Kafka, it is self-managed. So these are few differences that Apache Kafka and PubSub has. You can also look into more of them, but these are the few key differences that I know. We can move on to the next.
That is a first class, the first class member.
Will you take that?
Okay, fine. Here the first class means the same that we know in the Java or in the Scala. The first class citizen or function. In the programming world, every first class citizen or follows some conditions, like all items can be actual parameters for a function, or all the item can return a result of a function. So items can be subject of the assigned statement, or as a assignment of the statements, and all the items can be tested equally. And for the first class function, I think uh, a programming language is said to have a first class function when that function language are treated like any other variable. For example, a function can be passed as an argument to the other function, can return an another function, and can be assigned as a return value to a variable. So these all criteria are fit uh, for the Spring Cloud GCP. So that's why all the members in Spring GCP are considered as a first class citizen or first class functions over here.
Yeah. So the GCP services, they are considered uh, first class citizens in Spring Cloud GCP. So that is the purpose of this collaboration between GCP and Pivotal.
Like as defined over here, we can directly able to access these elements from the implementation of cloud and able to handle it with the function or without the function in the Spring Boot application. That's why we call it as a first class citizen of the Google Cloud. So anyone has anything to ask us?
Okay, if we are done with the questions, thank you very much, Saurabh and Avnikas, for the session. And I think more thanks to audience to make it more interactive with the questions. Right?
Thank you everyone for the questions
Thank
and
you.
Being the great
Thank
knowledge.
you, everyone. Thank
Thank
you,
you
Saurabh.
so much, everyone. Bye, Saurabh.
Hi.
Goodbye.